Is this seriously the plan? Bringing back a familiar face, betting on a quarterback who only shined once, and still putting chips on an offensive line veteran nobody wanted to re-sign? This is Ethan Carter, live from the Seahawks Insider Report, and today's vibe is a mix of tension and nostalgia, all wrapped up in stubborn hope. Shaquille Griffin is back in Rain City. Does he still have gas in the tank? A surgical reinforcement could reshape the OL. An underrated safety might be the hidden piece of the defense. And the quarterback, it's the biggest all-in since Matt Flynn. But will the roulette wheel spin our way, or are we reliving 2010 disguised as 2025? What's up, 12s? All good? Welcome to another video here on your go-to channel for news and analysis, the Seahawks Insider Report. I'm here this Saturday with a truckload of news, hot takes, and everything about the team that makes Lumen Field tremble, our Seattle Seahawks. But before anything else, seriously, humbly, I gotta ask anyone who isn't already part of our nation here on the channel, my fellow Seahawks fanatics. It's free and it helps us out a ton. Subscribe to the channel. Let's make this Seahawks community even stronger. If you got goosebumps when you read Griffin is back, hit that like button now and comment. Can we still trust the veterans in Seattle? Nobody expected it, nobody asked for it, but he's back. Shaquille Griffin is once again donning blue-green in action in Seattle and is dividing opinions like few recent decisions. The Seahawks are bringing back a name that's already made history in the Emerald City, but they're doing it at a time when the fan base is still trying to understand the true identity of this new defense under Mike Macdonald. Griffin's return was confirmed on July 2nd, reigniting memories of the late Legion of Boom era, but also raising a red flag. Is this choice nostalgia or strategy? Let's get to the facts. With Devin Witherspoon and Rick Woolen solidified as starters, the third cornerback spot was still an uncomfortable void on the roster. Josh Jobe and Nehemiah Pritchett were competing for snaps, but without truly convincing anyone. Griffin's arrival fills that gap with experience. The former Pro Bowler has 106 NFL games, 9 career interceptions, and just came off a solid season with the Vikings, tallying 41 tackles and 2 picks. But there's one concerning point: his exclusion from many analysts' radar. Josh Edwards from CBS Sports didn't even mention Griffin when discussing Seattle's secondary needs, preferring to point out the need for more reinforcements even with the current roster. This shows how his presence might have gone unnoticed, or worse, might be underestimated. From a technical standpoint, Griffin comes in as a reliable CB3, someone who knows the environment, understands the pressure, and can rotate immediately with the rookies. In 2023, he played 572 snaps, below the 752 that Seattle starters faced last season, but still relevant. If the plan is to hold down the fort against receivers like Cooper Kupp, Valdez-Scantling, and Deebo Samuel, Griffin doesn't need to be a star, he needs to be stable. Additionally, the roster has options like Shamar Jean-Charles, Zy Alexander, Tyler Hall, and the versatile Nick Emmanwori, who could show up in the slot. But stability isn't easy to come by with recycled veterans. The question hanging in the air is, does Griffin have enough gas for another run? He turns 30 this July. He's already bounced around Jacksonville, Houston, Carolina, and Minnesota in the last 3 years. And let's be frank, that nomadic trajectory doesn't inspire total confidence. But if there's one thing a Seattle fan knows, it's that heart and loyalty sometimes weigh more than hype and stats. Griffin knows the sound of Lumen Field. He was part of the Blue Wave. Maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what this defense needs. But what if it's not? What if this return is just a smokescreen while the true defensive weakness hasn't even been exposed yet? Sometimes you realize the coaching staff is seeing the same hole the fans have been screaming about for months. And now it seems Mike Macdonald has decided to act. The strong rumor this week is that the Seahawks are seriously scouting Nate Davis, a veteran offensive lineman with stints at the Titans and Bears. And for those who follow closely, this interest isn't just a matter of need, it's a clear attempt to bring order to the silent chaos that has been the interior of our offensive line. Let's get straight to the point. After the June minicamp, Macdonald made it clear that the line is still a work in progress. Translation: you can't completely trust what we have right now. John Benton took over the offensive line and brought with him a mindset of precise technique combined with brutal force in the running game. Rick Dennison, another big name on the staff, also reinforces this philosophy. But for this idea to work, someone needs to set the tone in the locker room, and that's where Nate Davis comes in. At 27, Davis brings a package that's missing in Seattle: experience, versatility, and silent leadership. He can play both guard and center, has faced tough defenses in the AFC South, and knows what it takes to keep a pocket clean for 4 quarters. Contractually, we're talking about a guy who was making around $5 million a year, a reasonable value for someone who can transform an unstable line into something minimally functional. But that's not all. Davis also has a hidden role on this chessboard, serving as a bridge between the rookies like Gray Zabel and the standard of excellence the new staff wants to implement. Imagine the impact of having a veteran like him guiding snaps, correcting posture, and keeping a cool head in the red zone. And the best part, without compromising the cap. Of course, there are risks. Davis has a history of isolated injuries, and his performance dropped in Chicago in his last few games. But you have to consider the context. The Bears' line was a mess, and even Trent Williams would look mediocre there. If the negotiation moves forward, it will be one of those reinforcements that won't make headlines, but that could completely change offensive efficiency in 2025. And with a new quarterback at the helm, every extra second in the pocket is golden. Now, the uncomfortable question, are the Seahawks moving fast enough? Or are we going to see another season where the offense dies before the ball even leaves the QB's hand? Too much silence surrounding this potential signing, and that only amplifies the feeling that Mike Macdonald is preparing something big behind the scenes. The name of the moment? Julian Blackmon. Yes, the 26-year-old safety who's had flashes of stardom in Indianapolis and now emerges as a strategic target for the Seahawks to bolster the deep defense. But why does this name, among so many available, shake up the board so much? The answer lies in the rare mix of versatility, experience, and timing. Blackmon isn't a name that makes noise in the market. No Pro Bowl, no millionaire contract. But for those who understand defense, his impact goes far beyond statistics. In 2022, for example, he had a rating of 46.6 when targeted by opposing QBs, elite numbers for a player who played both in the slot and as a traditional safety. And that's pure gold within the system Macdonald is trying to solidify, with rookies like Nick Emenwari just coming in and Devon Witherspoon still maturing as a secondary leader. Bringing in a name like Blackmon can accelerate the entire process. The locker room needs an experienced voice, and more, someone who understands the concept of tough and connected. Macdonald's philosophy based on intense communication, technical discipline, and emotional cohesion. Blackmon fits that profile, but he's not coming to be a star, he's coming to be a bridge. A mentor who takes the field with starter energy, but the mindset of an impactful veteran, and the best part, at a low cost. Short contract, immediate impact, calculated risk. It's the kind of move intelligent teams make when they know they're one detail away from becoming contenders. The tactical fit is also almost surgical. With him, Seattle can preserve the physicality of the young players, use hybrid formations with 3 safeties, and test Emenwari further up the field without compromising deep coverage. All this while maintaining the integrity of the rotation, something that was too fragile in recent years. But you know what impresses me most about this potential move? It's the coolness under pressure. The front office isn't desperate. They're not going after a big-name impact player to please headlines. They're going after the right piece at the right time. And that reminds me of the quiet decisions of the Pete Carroll pre-low B era. Low noise, high efficiency. If Blackmon comes, don't expect fireworks. Expect fewer touchdowns given up, more forced third downs, and a more connected defense than we've seen in the last 5 years. But will the coaching staff have the courage to take this step now, or will they let the opportunity slip through their fingers while the competition wakes up? It's the kind of gamble that separates visionary coaches from those who end up in the unemployment line. Sam Darnold, a $100 million contract, starting quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks in 2025. End of the Geno Smith era, end of the cautious transition, and the beginning of a plan that sounds more like a do-or-die scream. The trade was bold and perhaps hasty, but before criticizing, let's understand the scenario. Darnold is coming off an excellent season with the Vikings. Yes, excellent. He read defenses calmly, ran play action like he was raised by Shanahan, and finally showed the talent everyone swore he had in the 2018 draft. But it was just one season, and before that, Jets, Panthers, bench with the 49ers. A true carousel of frustrations. So why would Macdonald bet so high right now? Because he believes Darnold no longer needs to be the savior. He just needs to be functional. And that might be the most underrated play of the offseason. The Seahawks' offensive system now revolves around the running game, with Rick Dennison adjusting the zone schemes and the offense gaining physical mass with the potential arrival of Nate Davis. All of this points to a mindset of error containment, not miracle making. In other words, Darnold wasn't signed to win games with 60-yard passes. He was signed not to lose them with stupid turnovers. And that's a role he can perform well if he repeats 70% of what he did in Minnesota. Of course, veteran fans have every right to be suspicious. The last time Seattle made a gamble of this size on a quarterback was with Matt Flynn in 2012. And everyone knows what happened next. A certain rookie named Russell Wilson arrived. Today, the scenario is different. Jalen Milroe is on the roster, yes, and has the athletic potential to explode if he's patient. But Darnold is the chosen one. He is the face of the new era, for better or worse. And here's the most critical point. This contract, in addition to the financial impact, carries symbolic weight. It's the signature that the Seahawks are trying to accelerate the competitive cycle. They don't want to wait for a complete rebuild. They want playoffs. Now, the defense seems ready. The offense under construction. But if the pillar is unstable, everything collapses. And the pillar now is Sam Darnold. Can he handle it? Or will we discover in the freezing December cold at Lumen Field that we bet everything on a brilliant illusion? Because if this plan fails, my friend, 2025 won't be remembered as the year of the fresh start. It will be remembered as the year we went wrong, and fast. 4 moves, 4 clear signs of a team refusing to sit still on the side of the road. Griffin's return is a living memory with a last gasp of utility. Nate Davis could be the silent cornerstone of the offensive line. Blackmon, the missing link in a promising secondary. And Darnold, the biggest risk of all. But that's what defines champions, courage or chaos. The Seahawks are betting big. What about you? Do you believe this recipe will yield victories or disaster? If this analysis reminded you why you still believe in the power of the 12th man, hit that like and comment. Can we still dream in Seattle?